Hello, and welcome to beginning a new series where I want to try looking at units in 40k and Old World from their starting points to where they are now in the game. So who is first up? Well, this is probably the kit that has, for the longest period of time, been Games Workshop's best selling, and something Space Marine players will be very familiar with, the Tactical Squad. We shall start in 2nd edition as, yes, they existed in Rogue Trader, but Rogue Trader is a very unique rule set and quite a bit different to, well, every other 40k edition. 2nd edition was really the skeleton of what would become modern 40k. So then, they're coming in at 300 points base, movement 4, weapon skill 4, death skill 4, strength 4, toughness 4, runes worn, initiative 4, attacks 1, leadership 8. That stat line is not going to change until 8th edition, I'm telling you that now. They also come in a squad of 9 marines and a sergeant. They're packing power armor, bolt guns, bolt pistols, and frag grenades base. One model unit can take a heavy weapon, the options being an autocannon for 25, heavy bolter for 15, with hellfire rounds costing 5 points extra, las cannon for 45, heavy plasma gun for 40, missile launcher with frag and crack missiles at 45. They can also take melter, plasma, and anti-plant missiles if you want at 5 points each. And finally, the multi-melter are solid 65 points. One other marine can have a special weapon, flamer for 9 points, melter or plasma gun for 8. As for the sergeant, no allowed assault weapons, chainsaw for 2, power axe for 7, power fist for 10, power maul for 6, power sword for 6, bolt pistol for 2, hand flamer for 7, and plasma pistol for 5. The entire squad can also have crack grenades for 30 points. And yeah, that's their loadout options. What about special rules? Well, they don't really have anything truly unique to them, but there's a few army rules we can talk about. Rapid fire allows marines equipped with bolters or bolt pistols, that if they don't move, can fire them twice in the shooting phase. Also, despite coming in a squad of 10, you can choose to combat squad them, splitting them into 2 squads of 5 that act independently from each other. Finally, when it comes to break tests, the first time they fail one in a phase, they won't fall back, they're just shaken. They can't move forward while shaken, and they can't use follow-up moves unless they want to go into cover. However, at the end of the turn, they can attempt to raid to escape it. If, however, they don't, if they take another break test, then they will run away. And yeah, there we have the basic template of the Tactical Marine Squad. Definitely pricey, but hello, welcome to 2nd edition, this was kind of the thing then. And yeah, pretty solid overall and customizable, especially the combat squads. We could have the heavy weapon be behind, and then say the sergeant, the special weapon going forward. Very nice. Now then, off to 3rd edition, and hey, they already had a new kit update. Now, as I said, the stat line hasn't changed. Well, kind of. You see, 3rd edition, movement 6 became the default for most things, so yeah, they are movement 6, but the rest of the profile, not changed. They are now 15 points a model, and the unit size is now 4 to 9, plus the sergeant. Equipment, well, they come with bolt as default, but you can change it to a bolt pistol and close combat weapon if you want for no cost. Yeah, that bolt pistol is not standard anymore. Also, heavy weapons have also changed. Heavy bolter for 5 points, missile launcher for 10, or las cannon for 15. Yeah, the other options all gone. The special weapons are the same, but the flamer and plasma are now 6 points, and the melter gun is now 10. Frag grenades are now 1 point a model, and crack is now 2 points. The sergeant can also be upgraded to a veteran for 15 points. Doing so, they gain +1 attack and leadership, and gain access to Space Marine Armory. Otherwise, nothing too unique for them. Also, dedicated transport showed up in 3rd edition, and the Rhino is now here for 50 points, and the Razorback for 70 points. Special rule rise? Rapid fire is no longer a Space Marine rule, it's now just attached to certain weapons. But they've gained, and they shall know no fear. Which means, if Space Marines ever fall back, they automatically regroup and they're not destroyed. Even if an enemy advances into them, it'll just count as an assault. So yeah, they've lost a few weapon options, but a bit more customizable with squad size now. But yeah, you also need to decide if you want the more close range focus with the pistols and the close combat weapons, or if you still want to bring out the bolters. But yeah, they obviously looked at the 2nd edition and went, yeah, we basically got this down. And 4th edition really showed that, because not a lot changed there either. In fact, here are the changes. Heavy weapons. Multi-melter is back as an option at 10 points, and the plasma cannon is back at 20. The veteran sergeant is technically gone, but also not really. Instead, the Sergeant can have Terminator honors for 15 points and access to the armory. And the Terminator honors give +1 attack and leadership, so it's the same thing, just a different way of doing it. And that's really it. So if they say, well, the Codex itself did bring changes to the Marines, the Tactical Squad they looked at and went, yeah, just give them some of their old guns back, and moved on. Which, yeah, that's all they needed, really. Right, 5th edition come forth, and let's see what changes have occurred for you. And a few have, mainly due to the fact, end of 4th, beginning of the 5th is when unique armories started to vanish. Well, points-wise, they've gone to 90 points base for 4 Marines and 1 Sergeant. You can have up to 5 more, costing 16 points each. Base war gear, well, the bolt gun's still around. But hey, the bolt pistol and close combat weapon are back, being able to be used with it. And they also come with frag and crack grenades base, which does explain the points increase. Now, the special weapons have had a change. To even take one, you needed 10 Marines. However, the Flamer is free now, the Melter Gun is 5 points, and the Plasma Gun is 10. The heavy weapons also follow this rule, with the Heavy Bolter, Multi-Melter, or Missile Launcher being free if you have 10 Marines. The Plasma Cannon is 5 points, and the Las Cannon is 10. But yeah, the fact you need 10's an interesting little thing. The Sergeant is now just a round with +1 attack and leadership base. And equipment, as I said, with the armory being gone, a chain sword is free, any of the combi weapons are 10 points, the Storm Bolter is 10, the Plasma Pistol is 15, the Power Weapon is 15, the Power Fist is 25, Multi-Bombs are 5, and a Teleport Home was 15. Transport-wise, they've still got the Razorback and Rhino, but if you have a 10-man squad, they're allowed a drop pod now. Special rules, well, and they shall know no fear is still around. Combat Tactics is new, and it actually allows them to frail morale check if you want them to. It's basically to show them realize they need to move somewhere a bit more tactical for them to fight. Also, combat squads are back. If you take a full 10-man squad, you can split them into squads of 5 again. Nice. If you do give them a drop pod though, all 10 have to deploy in the drop pod, but then they can come out as a 2 separate 5-man squads and go their merry way. So yeah, with the army being toned down, in 5th, Sergeants were a bit more limited, but the Tactical Marines were also in an interesting spot with their special and heavy weapons being limited to you needing a squad of 10 first. The combat squads being back did help with this though. Right, off to 6th edition. Hello, new kit! That they've basically kept since because the Primaris happened in 8th, and suffice to say, the old Marines haven't been getting much focus since then. Still, coming in squads of 4 Marines and a Sergeant base, but there's 70 points now, and the new Marines are 14. The base equipment is the same as 5th, but special and heavy weapons have changed again. If under 10 models, one model can have a special or a heavy weapon. The special being Flamer for 5 points, Melter Gun for 10 points, Grav Gun is new for 15 points, and Plasma Gun for 15 points. Heavy weapons, Heavy Bolt is 10, the Multi-Melter is 10, the Missile Launcher is 15, but it's now allowed Flak Missiles for 10 more points. Plasma Cannon is 15 points, and the Las Cannon is 20. Now, if the squad is exactly 10 Marines, they're allowed a special and a heavy weapon. The Sergeant can become Veteran again for 10 points, gaining the +1 attack and leadership as usual, and now allowed a chainsaw to place their bolt or bolt pistol, plus anything from the melee and ranged weapon lists, as they sort of brought those back again. They can also have Melter Bombs for 5 points, and a Teleport Home for 10 points. Transport Rise, Rhino, Razorback, and Drop Pod. What about special rules? Well, the combat squads are still hanging around, as is They Shall Know No Fear, but Chapter Tactics got added to this codex, and the Tactical Marines will gain their benefits as well as anything in the Marine Army that does so. So yeah, once again, it really comes down to the special heavy equipment as the main changes again. But hey, point decrease of greenwich as well. Not uncommon by this point for most things, but nice. Okay, 7th edition. What have you got for me? You gained a Grav Cannon and Grav Amp Heavy Weapon for 35 points, and the Teleport Homer went down to 55 points. Otherwise, same as 6th. Huh. You know, considering 6th edition had a very short life of just being under 2 years, this isn't a shock they didn't get a major change. So yeah, a new heavy weapon and the Teleport Homer becoming 5 points. Yeah, it's not a shock. Also, it's kind of interesting, the Teleport Homer went 15 points, 10 points, 5 points. But yes, that's the end of the rule set from 3rd to 7th. Hello, 8th edition. So, now 12 points a model base. Remember when they were basically 30? Ah well. Let's look at the stat line as it has changed, because again, major rule change. Movement 6, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 4, wounds 1, attacks 1, leadership 7, and a 3+ save. Wait, leadership 7, what happened? The Primaris hurt your feelings or something? Sheesh. Ah well, the base equipment hasn't changed, it's still bolt pistol, bolter, grenades, so on. The heavy weapons and special weapons are also the same as 7th actually, including one special heavy if under 10, and then both if 10. Points a bit different, with the Flamer being 6, the Grav Gun 10, the Melter Gun 14, and Plasma 11 points for special weapons. Heavy weapons, the Heavy Bolter is 10, the Grav Cannon is 20, the Las Cannon is 25, the Missile Launcher is 20, the Multi-Motor is 22, and the Plasma Cannon is 16. The Sergeant has access to the, well, weapon lists again, with it still being things like chainsaws, combi weapons, lightning claws now, plasma weapons, power weaponry, thunderhammer, basically anything that was in there. It's not specific to the tactical squads. And of course, the Sergeant gets the +1 attack and leadership. At least that's been fairly consistent. Special rule-wise, well, combat squads are still around, but they also gain access to And They Show No Fear, which now lets them reroll morale checks. Bit of a shame they can't all pass them anymore. Ah well. Bolter Discipline is also new, which when using rapid-fire bolt weapons, they double the attacks if the target is within half maximum range, or they didn't move in the movement phase. Shock Assault gives them +1 attack if they charge, are charged, or perform a heroic intervention, and they also gain bonuses from any combat doctrines you have. So, yeah, despite the rule change really, they stay the same for the most part. The leadership drop is a bit weird though, and yeah, most of the real changes came to the army rule changes, like As They Shall Know No Fear. They can actually run away again, they haven't been able to do that properly since 2nd when you think about it. So, 9th edition, what's changed for you guys then stat-wise? Well, you're 18 points a model now, but that's because you've gone up to 2 runes, so that adds up. Other than that, it's equipment again. The Flamer is now 5 points, the Melter Gun is 10 points, and the Plasma is also 10. The Grav Gun stayed the same, and heavy weapon-wise, the Heavy Bolter stayed the same, the Grav Cannon went to 10 points, the Las Cannon is now 15, the Missile Launcher is 15, the Multi-Motor is 20, and Plasma Gun is 15. Yeah, I think they looked at the, like, odd numbers and went, we should probably make that make more sense. Special rule-wise, nothing really changed, other than And They Shall Know No Fear meant they ignored modifiers for combat attrition chests due to the changes to those deaths and 9th. I swear, ever since 7th edition they've had no idea what to do with leadership tests. But yeah, that's really it. So yeah, their war gear got cheaper, but they did get pricier due to the increased wound, which, you know, fair enough. And so, at the time of this video, we arrive at 10th. They're currently 140 points for 10 models, and well, this is where the stat line takes a bit of a change, as their movement 6, toughness 4, wounds 2, save 3+, leadership 6+, and OC 2. Yeah, with stats moving to weapons now for the most part, looks pretty bare bones, don't it? Still, 1 Sergeant, 9 Marines still, and coming with bolt guns, bolt pistols, and close combat weapons. And the grenades are, well, a stratagem really, so they don't really have them anymore. Equipment-wise, actually a bit of a change, as 1 Marine can still have the Flamer, Grav Gun, Melter Gun, or Plasma Gun, but another one could also have a Flamer, Grav Gun, Melter Gun, or Plasma Gun, or one of the 6 heavy weapons. And of course, war gear costs a gun. Sergeant equipment options hasn't really changed much, other than their different power weapon options have now just become power weapons. It's actually weird to look at that. 2nd edition, you had all the varieties of them. 3rd editions, they went back to just being power weapons. Then 8th, they became separated again, and now they've gone back to being power weapons again. Weird it's done that twice. Rule-wise, they benefit from Oath of Moment, and their unique rule is they can combat squad themselves still. Fair enough. So yeah, they're still hanging around, and really the bulk of the changes are weapon-specific now. But yes, that is where we are at the time of this video. And honestly, the Technology's life is kind of interesting, that they knew what to do from day one, stat-wise. It's just they kept looking at the equipment and moving it around a bit, taking away combat squads, giving them back, and yeah, other than that, nothing too major. What will the future hold for them, though? Honestly, like most Firstborn that remain, kind of hoping they don't go to Legends, especially as I said, they're kind of been the figurehead for Space Marines for a long period of time. But who knows? They're still a versatile unit that does good work, so hopefully they'll stick around. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you all next time.